our breathing and exchange chapter. Okay. We have stopped at the lungs. Stopped at the lungs in the sense we had completed the first 9 organs which we need to discuss, and this is the 10th organ that we are supposed to go ahead with, right? Yeah, I have already wished you, Krishna. Already wished you. Yeah, and that's what I was just locating the same thing. Now you will be able to see me. But I think it was now you all can see me now. Right, right. Can't hear you? You all can't hear me? Is it? Now it's perfect. You can hear me perfectly now. You can see me and you can hear me, right? Okay. 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 So, okay, my dear. Yeah. So we are going to go ahead with something called as the lungs. Any difficulty in the earlier part that we have? You can hear voice. See you. What is see you? Voice echo? Your voice echoing? Yes. I no. Yes. I don't know what's going on. Some of you are saying yes, some of you are saying no. One. Right. So we're going ahead with the lungs. Yeah, fine. Lungs are present in the thoracic cavity on either side of the heart. Okay. Someone had asked me some question. Now, 1 minute. Let me check. Yeah. Someone had asked me olfactory bulbs or olfactory lobes. I don't know. Anyway, olfactory means associated with smell. Okay. Something which is associated with smell is called as olfaction. Okay. Direct respiration and indirect respiration through skin, one and the same. No. When we talk about, depending upon the, condition, prevailing conditions, it's going to happen. Okay. So direct may what will happen from the surface of the skin, there's going to be exchange of gases. And when it is going to be through the skin, it is going to be your indirect. So directly over the skin, direct. Via the skin, it's going to be indirect. Okay, and depending upon the conditions, it's going to happen. Fine, beta? Okay. Any other doubts in the previous class, whatever we have done? Okay. So we are talking about the lungs now. That is going to be the 10th organ associated with our breathing chapter. So position, where is the position of the lungs? We know. Lungs are present in the thoracic cavity on either side of the heart. So already seen in the diagram as well. There's going to be presence of something called as pleural membrane. So each lung is enclosed with double membrane pleural membrane. So it's a double membrane structure. So here you can see that this is the outer pleura over here, the external part, outer pleura. Can you see this? And look at this. This is the inner pleura. Inner pleura थोड़ा सा blurred है, dark pinkish color में जो अंदर से है ये. That is the inner pleura. Okay, and this is the outer pleura. Fine. So there are two pleural membranes that are going to be present around our lungs. The outer membrane is called as the parietal pleura, whereas the inner membrane is known as the visceral pleura. Now, as I have already said, parietal का मतलब होता है बाहर की तरफ, and visceral means अंदर की तरफ. Okay. In between the two pleural membrane, hollow space is found, which is called as the pleural cavity. So, between the inner and the outer pleural membranes, there is going to be a cavity. And this cavity, of course, in this diagram, it is difficult to show because the pleural membranes are very much close together with a very minute gap in between. Okay, but that's a very important gap. So that is going to be the pleural cavity. Okay, pleural cavity is filled with watery fluid called as the pleural fluid. Pleural fluid is secreted by the pleural membrane. Yes, chart that I had shown. Yes, better. So in that I had clearly shown. So pleural fluid is going to be secreted by the pleural membranes itself. So the pleural cavity is the cavity which is sandwiched between the two pleural membranes, and this cavity will be filled with fluid. What's the name of that fluid? Pleural fluid. And that pleural fluid will be synthesized, secreted, manufactured by none other than your pleural membranes. Got it? Understood? Then, pleural fluid performs three major functions, which are as follows. It allows free, frictionless movement of the lungs. See, whenever there is going to be, filling up of the lungs. So what will happen? The lung would expand. So when the lungs expand, there is going to be, it has to have elasticity. And what is going to happen? It has to, accommodate in that particular space. Correct? So this particular, movement of lungs is going to be frictionless if the pleural membranes are going to be present. Correct? Yeah, exactly, Palak. Very correct. Perfect. Like pericardial fluid of the heart. Very correct. It protects the lungs from the mechanical shocks and it prevents pleural membrane from sticking together. So if the fluid is not there now, then what will happen? If the fluid is not there, the two pleural membranes will stick together, right? So that is not accepted. So the pleural fluid has to be maintained throughout the life. Okay. Accumulation of fluid between pleura is called as pleural effusion or pleurisy. That means unwanted. Unwanted means extra. जरूरत से ज़्यादा अगर accumulate हो जाता है ना ये fluid, then it is difficult, right? So it happens because of the bacterial infection, and the person experiences difficulty in breathing due to increased intrapleural pressure. Intrapleural means pressure from within the pleural cavity really exerted on both the pleural membranes. So capacity से ज़्यादा वो stretch हो रहा है pleural membrane. So don't you think it's going to be painful? Right? See, it's any way, like any time, if a particular thing is pulled, stretched beyond its capacity, it becomes painful. Right now, so if I take my this finger and if I try to bend it downwards to a particular angle, I can bend it. Beyond that, it pains. So anything that is going to be, stretched beyond its capacity is going to be very, very painful. So here also, what happens is because of the bacterial infection, the pleural fluid is going to be, secreted more, and it's a response. It's a response to kill the bacteria basically. But in due course of time, what will happen? वो जो space है ना, खुलता जाता है बेटा, है ना? And both the pleural membranes will get stretched, and that is going to be very painful. I don't know if you have ever experienced because of continuous coughing, कभी-कभी lungs में दर्द होता है, देखा है आपने, कभी experience किया है? It actually pains, like when you're breathing also now, then it pains. So that is because of this particular reason. That is pleurisy. That is extra accumulation of the pleural fluid. Yeah, somewhat like a chest pain wala thing you feel, but it's like entire lungs are going to be, like very, very painful. Even the backside, even the backsides, it becomes painful, right? So yeah, exactly. Like pull up, yes, exactly. So that's the main function of our pleural fluid. Okay. So any difficulty till here? Any point that you have not understood till here? This is in case when the pleural fluid is synthesized in excess, right? And why it is going to be synthesized in excess? As a combat machinery to kill the bacteria which is invading it. ठीक है ना? Right? So that is what is happening even in COVID ना. Lung infection बहुत ज़्यादा फटाफट spread होता है. So the first to be attacked are these pleural membranes, right? Then first we will talk about the external structure of lungs. Okay. So the lungs are spongy, soft, pinkish, elastic organs. Okay. The most upper portion, of each lung is called the apex, and the most lower portion is called as the base. Of course, this is going to be the apex, and this is going to be the base. Okay. Here also you can see the apex and your the base. Right? Right lung is slightly larger and broader in size. You can see the difference in this diagram very clearly. ये देखो, ये right lung है और ये left lung है. So you can see the size difference and you can see a notch over here. एक यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा ऐसा depression है, groove है. Correct? How does the lungs get rid of this excess fluid? By medication. Okay, it's only going to be by medication. On its own, it doesn't. Yeah. Then each lung is lobulated structure and is divided externally into lobes by transverse and oblique grooves called as the fissures. So here you can see this is the transverse fissure. ये वाला दिख रहा है आपको एक groove जहाँ मेरा cursor अभी move कर रहा है. See, this is going to be the transverse groove and this is an oblique groove. Slanted. Oblique का मतलब क्या है? Slanted. In the right one, but not in the left one. Left one has got only oblique. It does not have transverse. So left lung is divided into 2 lobes, while right lung is divided into 3 lobes. A very common question. Okay. Lobes of the lungs. Each lung is a lobulated structure and is divided externally into lobes by transverse and oblique grooves called as the fissures. Lobes of the lungs. Left lung is 2 lobes. Upper superior lobe and lower inferior lobe. इसका weight अगर करते हैं तो normally it is going to be around 550 to 600 grams. ये left lung का weight. Okay. Right lung is 3 lobed. Yeah, it's really hardly anything, na? Yes. Right lung is 3 lobed. Upper superior, middle lobe, and lower inferior lobe. You can very clearly see the 3 lobes in the diagram. It is demarked by transverse and oblique fissures, and if you take the weight of the right lung, it's around 625 grams. Fine. Not exactly. It's trilobe. See, actually, this is bilobe because this has to accumulate the heart. Your heart is going to be present in this particular cavity. Okay, so this particular cavity में heart को fit कराने के लिए left lobe जो है वो 2 ही lobes का होता है, left lung, and it's going to be lesser in size also. Okay, got it? So any difficulty in this particular slide with respect to the diagram? Compressions बोलो या फिर demarcations, you can call it as demarcations. Okay, they're just going to be demarked. थोड़ा सा अंदर की तरफ जाके बाहर आ रहा है. Right? In your first year MBBS, those who want to go ahead with MBBS, in the first year itself, the lung का पूरा cross section and dissection है. Okay, so that time you will actually see the actual true lungs of man. Right? Got it? Yeah, of course you have to do it. Otherwise, I'll not come there also to tell you all ये देखो ऐसा करना है. That is what you will be doing. Okay, but you know what happens generally, that it's assumed that you know the external structure of lungs, you know the internal structure of lungs, and now a superficial explanation is going to be given and you are told to do it. Okay, is blood that frightening? It is not. It's everything in your mind. पूरा मन का खेल है, दिल का खेल है भाई, और कुछ नहीं है. Okay, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. What is Karina? Karina is the point from where the two branches would emerge. Okay, so here you can see this is the common point from where two branches have emerged. Okay, yeah. Then we go to the alveoli, very important structure, and you will be, once you understand these things, then the mechanism will be very easy for you all to understand. Okay, alveoli. Each lobe is further divided into several lobules by septa of connective tissue. So there are different types of tissues, you know. So here there would be connective tissue, which will form septum. Septum means what? Compartments. What are septum? Compartments. We have seen in kingdom fungi, na? Septate and aseptate. So how the compartments were there. In the same way here, connective tissues would be used to make these septa. Fine. Each lobule is further divided into several air sacs, and in the end, each air sac is lastly divided into 3 or 4 alveoli. Now, it seems to be very simple कि हाँ alveoli है, लेकिन where are the alveoli? उनका एड्रेस देखो, ढूंढना मुश्किल है ना alveoli को? नहीं, मुश्किल नहीं है, बस समझना है. See, each lobe is further divided into several lobules. Okay, so we had 1, 2, 3 lobes of right lung and 1 and 2 lobes of the left lung. So each of these lobes is further divided into lobules. Okay, and each lobule is further divided into air sacs. Okay, and in the end, each air sac is ultimately divided into 3 or 4 alveoli. समझ में आ रही है बात? Are you all understanding what I'm trying to tell you all? So this is a very important phenomena, beta. That we have got what? We have got for a pair of lung. Okay, they'll have what? They'll have sorry, not lobules. I'm sorry. They'll have lobes. They'll have lobes. Correct? They will have lobes. Each lobe will have what? Lobules. Correct? Each lobules will have air sacs. And finally, each air sac will have around 3 to 4 alveoli. Correct? So lungs have lobules. Lobes will have lobules. Lobules will have air sacs, and air sacs will ultimately terminate into 3 to 4 alveoli. Okay? Got it? Lobes. These are the lobes. If take lobe, you can see this very clearly. I'll use a different color so you will understand it. See, this is the first lobe. Look at this one. Can you all see this? This is the second lobe. And this one is the third lobe. Okay, got it? Similarly, here if you see, this entirely is the first lobe. And from here, this is going to be the second lobe. Now, each lobe will be further divided into small compartments called as lobules. Okay, so each lobe will be further divided into small compartments called as lobules. And each lobule will have several further compartments called as air sacs. And each air sac will further have compartments called as alveoli. ठीक है? समझा? How does it appear like? So, yes. Here. So this is going to be your, bronchiole. Look at it, right? This is going to be the pulmonary artery का branch जो heart में मैं आपको पढ़ाऊंगी circulation वाली chapter में. What is it all together? This is the pulmonary venule, again a part of your circulatory system. Look over here. This is the terminal bronchiole. Okay, from the terminal bronchiole here. So you know what is terminal bronchiole and respiratory bronchiole in here. Parso wala class I had already told you, right? Now you can see these, right? These. So you can see these are the alveoli, correct? And this entire one gola is going to be your alveolar sac. Got it? So this one ball is going to be the air sac, as we call it. Okay? Got this? Yeah, and these will be aggregated. Now you can see over here. अभी ये इसको अलग से हटा के दिखाया है उन्होंने. But here there are 4 or 5 alveolar sacs clubbed together. So this is going to form one lobule. And such type of many lobules will be present in each of the lobes. It's like that way. Got it now? Fine. So they are not considering bronchi. No. They are not considering bronchi. Bronchi ऊपर आ जाएगा. So this is what this entire one over here is going to be the air sac, which is also called as the alveolar sac. And individual, you can see ये जो है individual एक एक करके इसके अंदर जो cells है ना, ये है हमारे alveoli. Got it? Yes. Now see, structural and functional unit of lungs is going to be the alveoli. Very important. Approximately 300 million alveoli are present in both the lungs. 300 million. Imagine. Inner surface of the alveolar of both the lungs is approximately 100 meters square. So look at the, surface का ये देखो spread कैसा है देखो. So imagine that how much would be the capacity for taking up the gases for exchange, right? Wall of the alveoli consists of 2 layers. Outer layer is composed of yellow, fibrous, connective tissue. तो alveoli की wall की बात हो रही है बेटा. ये जो है ना, this white color का structure that you can see from outside, right? This white structure from outside and this pinkish structure from inside, as you can very well see, right? So the inner layer will be made up of, the outer layer will be made up of yellow fibrous connective tissue. So this is your, जो white है ना, actually it is yellow color. Yellow मतलब not typical yellow. It's yellow fibrous connective tissue. Okay. And internally you can see this red वाले जो या pink वाले जो है, that is the inner wall. Okay. So this is going to be the structure of alveoli, alveolar sac in general. ठीक है? Any difficulty in understanding these particular points? Anyone who has not followed? Any point not followed? Understood it very perfectly? Good. Many alveoli in each sac? No, but it appears to be like that way. So, you know, these are many clubbed together. They just club together to form these aggregates so that they can increase the surface area for absorption. ठीक है? Have you all ever ate साबुदाना खिचड़ी जो ऐसे एक दूसरे को चिपक चिपक के रहती है? वो कैसे दिखता है ना स्ट्रक्चर? Actually, individually, each one is different, but they come together to form those clot-like things, right? So that is what type of a structure is formed over your ears. Yeah, correct. Yes. Well, but so we go to the next one. I bring my video here. Yeah. Inner layer of the alveoli is composed of simple tissues. Alveoli is yeah. It resembles like that way. So I've given you that particular example, right? So the inner layer of the alveoli is composed of simple squamous epithelial tissue. Now, what is it? What is squamous epithelial? What is connective? What is what? Everything, you know, like will be taught to you in the chapter of structural organization. Fine. Squamous cells are called as pneumocytes only in case of lungs. Okay. Squamous epithelial, simple squamous epithelial tissue बहुत जगह पर present है हमारे, but everywhere they are not called as pneumocytes. The simple squamous epithelial tissue which is present in the lungs is going to be called as made up of cells called as pneumocytes. Fine. Most of these pneumocytes help in gaseous exchange, while few pneumocytes which are larger in size secrete lecithin. Very important word, my dears. Lecithin is nothing but it is a phospholipid. It's a what are squamous epithelial cells? That's what I told you. That details of that particular structure would be told to you all or taught to you all in the chapter called as structural organization in animals. Okay, so that is, you know, what is epithelial tissue, correct? Then that day I told you that day I had drawn simple epithelial tissue मैंने draw किया था. Okay, so similarly I had drawn a particular tile-like tissue. Do you remember? एक tile के जैसे मैंने बनाया था. That is simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay. Where is it found? It's found everywhere in the alveoli. So the inner layer of the alveoli, entire inner layer of the alveoli will be made up of simple squamous epithelial tissue. Okay. And the squamous cells which make up that tissue will be called as pneumocytes. Okay. And there are two types of pneumocytes, one which is larger and one which is smaller. Most of the pneumocytes will help in exchange of gases, but there are few which are predominantly large, and rather than helping in gaseous exchange, these larger pneumocytes will help in secreting a phospholipid called as lecithin. Now, why is it going to involve in formation of lecithin? Itna bada kya role hai lecithin ka, right? So this lecithin is nothing but, see, lecithin acts as a surfactant which prevents alveoli from collapsing by reducing its surface tension. So basically, beta, you in chemistry you might have heard about this word surfactant. The one which reduces the surface tension is called as a surfactant. So there should not be overstretching of the alveoli. नहीं तो balloon के जैसे डोम हो जाएगा alveoli भी, right? So we don't want that to happen. We cannot afford our alveoli to burst open, right? So balloon में जब हवा ज्यादा भरते हो आप लोग, तो what will happen? At a particular time तक it's fine. After that, what will happen? It will burst. So we don't want our alveoli to burst. So to control the surface tension, there is requirement of these surfactant, and that also is going to be produced by whom? The squamous cells, that is the pneumocytes itself. That's what I said. Surfactants are, certain secretions which are reduced to reduce the surface tension so that the cells do not burst open due to excess pressure of the air. Okay. Then, alveoli internal surface is termed as respiratory surface. It is derived from the endoderm of the embryo. We have already done human reproduction chapter. So we know what is ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So endoderm is going to give rise to the respiratory surface, which is the part of your internal alveoli, right? Rest whole lung is mesodermal in origin. So that is what I had told you all. You remember when I talked about the human reproduction wala chapter, embryogenesis ke baad. So the entire lung is mesodermal, except the inner surface of the alveoli, which is endodermal. Now ये जो है ना, ये छिपे हुए questions है. These details are not there in your NCERT textbooks, and then they are very happy to ask you ये छिपे हुए questions. Okay, so I don't want anyone of you all to lose the marks for this type of questions. So you know what is endodermal in origin and what is mesodermal in origin of the lung. Correct? The middle part of the alveolar wall is made up of connective tissue. It is richly supplied with blood capillaries. Dense network of blood capillaries is even found around the alveoli. What do you want me to repeat? I said that these type of statements are not there in your NCERT textbook, that what is mesodermal and what is endodermal in this particular chapter. So these are the hidden questions, and they expect you to answer this because these things have already been enlisted in human reproduction chapter. Okay, तो ये chapter में ये सारी चीजें कहीं पर भी mention नहीं है बेटा. So you have to be careful with this. Okay. Yeah. Then it is richly supplied with blood capillaries. You can very well see. ये देखो, get this particular diagram. Can you see a network of red and blue? Red is going to be the oxygenated blood carrying capillaries, and blue one is going to be the deoxygenated carrying capillaries. Okay, so how much dense is this network? See, and it's going to be surrounded everywhere. Okay, it's going to be surrounding everywhere. Then these blood capillaries come from pulmonary artery. So the red ones that you saw, the blue ones that you saw was from the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery divides into blood capillaries after reaching the lungs. These capillaries form a dense network in the walls of the alveoli. Yeah, red is for oxygen and blue is for CO2. Yes, my dear, that is correct. Okay. Now, what you have to remember over here is this particular point. Artery, जब भी हम word artery use करते हैं ना, we always know that artery will carry oxygenated blood. Correct? And veins will carry deoxygenated blood, is what is there in our mind. There is only one exception. This is word pulmonary. Pulmonary is an exception. So pulmonary artery is going to carry deoxygenated blood. So kindly remember this particular fact forever, that pulmonary artery jo hai, oh, I have changed the color of my pen, I forgot. So this pulmonary artery jo hai, it's going to carry what? Deoxygenated blood. Kindly remember this always. Okay, so what will happen? This particular deoxygenated blood carrying, just give me a minute, but my laptop needs to be charged. I have to press on the plug. 1 minute and come. So here, yeah, the pulmonary arteries will carry deoxygenated. Pulmonary artery will divide into blood capillaries. So now these capillaries will also carry what? Deoxygenated blood after reaching in the lungs. These capillaries form a dense network in the walls of the alveoli. Okay, so this is how the deoxygenated blood will be brought towards the lungs. Okay, got it? What you want me to repeat, beta? Squamous cells, the tissue which is going to be, present in the inside part of the alveoli will be called as squamous epithelial tissue. And the cells of this tissue will be called as pneumocytes. The pneumocytes are predominantly involved in exchange of gases, but few of them which are larger in size will be having one more function, that is production of lecithin, which acts like a surfactant. Surfactant is nothing, the one who will lower down the surface tension, okay, so that the alveoli do not burst open. Right? Any doubts in this particular slide? Come on, एक बार देख लो बेटा, कुछ है difficulty to tell me. If you have got any difficulty regarding this, please tell me. No? Then I think I can go ahead. Yeah. All these capillaries combine to form pulmonary vein at the other end. That means, see, the capillaries which are branching are then going to get supplied with oxygen. And once they get supplied with oxygen from the other end, they'll become red in color. So if you look at that particular structure very clearly, now, ye dekho, look at this particular diagram, beta. Pay attention to this. See, look over here. This is the blue one which is entering near the alveoli. And then the one which is leaving is red in color. So at the surface of the alveoli, exchange of gases has taken place. Means what has happened? CO2 in this blue region has been taken up by the alveoli, while oxygen from the alveoli will be given to these capillaries to become red in color. Okay, so ये blue जिधर blue है ना, ये सारा का सारा deoxygenated blood लेके आ रहा है, and wherever there is red, it is oxygenated. But if you see, blue is only getting converted into red. Can you see here? The blue itself is getting converted into red. That means there are no two different capillaries. It's the same capillary which on getting oxygen will now become red in color. Got this? So if you see over here, just pay attention to this. This is the pulmonary artery का एक particular arteriole. ये देखो, ये branch हो रहा है. You can see it's branching. And look at this branching. The branches are further dividing to form these blue color के capillaries. And these blue capillaries are coming and surrounding the alveoli. Now in the alveoli, this blue color के blood vessels जो है, they'll get oxygenated. And then when they are leaving from that particular area, see, they're becoming red. Now all these reds are coming and they are combining one particular venule, which is called as the pulmonary venule, which will then combine to form the pulmonary vein. Got it now? So this is the most important thing that we have to understand. Okay. Yeah. So all these capillaries combine to form pulmonary vein at the another end. These veins carry pure blood to the left auricle of the heart. So obviously from the, these venules, the blood has to reach the heart for pumping, right? For being pumped and being spread to the rest of the body. Yeah? There are small pores present in the walls of the alveoli. What's your orbiter? These capillaries are formed so that the exchange of gases becomes easier. Yes, exactly. There are small pores present in the walls of the alveoli. These pores help in diffusion of the gases very easily. Minute pores होते हैं alveoli के surface पे, that will cause the diffusion of the gases very easily. These pores are called as pores of Cunning. Now, these words are not given in your books, but you will have to remember them. It is the characteristic feature of mammalian lungs. There is no central cavity in case of mammalian lungs. Mammalian lungs are solid and spongy. Okay. Muscles are absent in the lungs of the mammals. Please remember, lungs do not have muscles. So the power of self-contraction and self-expansion is absent in our lungs. We call our lungs as sunken lungs. Okay. So our lungs cannot expand or contract or nothing they can do. Okay. Fine. Because we don't have any muscles. The mammals do not have any muscles. Okay. Then what will happen when the air will enter inside? The alveoli is going to be responsible for this exchange of gases. Clear? So this is how the lungs are going to function. Now look at this, beta. This is a very beautiful diagram. So this is the trachea, you can see, right? Left principal primary bronchus is this. The right one is this. Then these are the secondary, bronchioles or bronchi as we call them. These are the tertiary ones. Okay. Then the tertiary bronchus leading after several successive divisions to terminal bronchus. So this is going to be the terminal bronchi. Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be the terminal bronchi. Okay. Then this is the lobular bronchi. Look over here. This is the terminal bronchiole. Bronchiole is a branch of bronchus. What is bronchiole? Branch of bronchi. Ye dekho. Terminal bronchiole. Okay. Then that day I told you, ये जहां से ऐसे ये चालू हो जाते हैं ना, outgrowth चालू हो जाते हैं, that is your respiratory bronchiole का starting. So these are going to be your respiratory bronchioles, right? Now, these respiratory bronchioles के नीचे, if you come, can you see alveolar duct? So all the alveoli will come and combine over here. Okay. This is also called as atrium. This atrium is not the atrium of our heart. Please. Then these are the alveolar sac. Can you see the alveolar sac? 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the alveolar sac. And these are the alveolus. Single. ये एक जो grapes के जैसे दिख रहा है ना तुम्हें? These are the single alveoli. And they have zoomed this single alveoli का एक alveoli को उन्होंने zoom किया है. You can see कैसे triple structure दिख रहा है, 3 to 4 वाला. So this is going to be your alveolus. Got it now? So this diagram makes the thing very, very clear. This diagram makes the thing very, very clear about how the entire lung seems to be. Okay. Still any doubts? Still any difficulties in understanding the external structure of the lungs? Anyone who has not followed any part of it? Follow? Now I'm going to talk about pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood. Okay, it will carry oxygenated blood. Now we go to the internal structure of the lungs. Let us see how internally they are going to be looking like. So first is going to be the thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is like a cage, so called as the thoracic cage. Thoracic cavity is combination of the following structures. Vertebral column would be found on the dorsal part of the thoracic cavity. So from the back side, there will be support of the vertebral column. Sternum would be found on the ventral part. So in the front, the sternum would be present. Sternum is also called as the breastbone, right? Ribs found on the lateral part of the thoracic cavity, correct? and diaphragm found on the posterior part of the thoracic cavity. So here you can, in this diagram, you can very well see this. Okay. So here you have got the diaphragm at the base. Correct. You can see this very well. Ribs from the side. You can see the ribs from the side. So look at the support system the lungs are having. Correct. So side से उनको किसने protect किया है? Ribs से protect किया है. नीचे से किसने उसको support किया है lungs को? Diaphragm ने किया है. And आगे से किसने किया बेटा? This particular thing is nothing but the sternum, which is called as the breastbone. So ये आगे से उधर से support मिला है. And exactly इसके पीछे की तरफ, from the back side, there's going to be the vertebral column. So don't you think एक cage के जैसा, एक box के जैसा structure बन रहा है around the lungs for its protection? Because lungs are soft, they are pink, soft. We have seen this now, elastic structures. That is what we have seen just now, right? So they require protection from all the four sides. Okay, so they're going to be very well protected in this thoracic cage, as we call them. What we call them as thoracic cage, right? Well, then the diaphragm. Diaphragm is a muscular septum which is found only in the mammals. Normal shape of this is dome shaped, which divides body cavity into two parts: upper thoracic cavity and lower abdominal cavity. So from the point where your diaphragm is going to be present now, so iske niche ka part would be called as what? Lower abdominal. And ye diaphragm ke upar ka part would be called as what? Upper thoracic. नॉर्मल शेप कैसा है इसका? देखो, नॉर्मली इट इज डोम शेप. डोम समझते हो ना? डोम. So it is going to be dome shape like this. Okay. And in it, radial muscles are present. Radial. What do you mean by the word radial? Radial का मतलब क्या होता है? Which position? Come on. This is English. Radial. Where they are going to be present, where the muscles are going to be present. In the diaphragm, not in the lungs. We are not talking about the lungs. We are talking about the diaphragm. So lungs में muscles नहीं है बेटा. Kindly remember, lungs do not have muscles. It is the diaphragm which is going to have muscles. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Kinjal, you're perfectly right बेटा. Radial का मतलब है on the edges, towards the sides. Okay, so they are going to be having radial muscles. They originate from periphery and inserted in the central region of the diaphragm. So these muscles will be originating from the periphery and coming at the center like this way. Okay, got it? Yeah, but I'll go to the previous slide. Sure. Okay, so they originate from the periphery and they are inserted in the central region of the diaphragm. So you know how will they look like? An open umbrella. An open umbrella is dome shape. The umbrellas, you know, those metal, you know, that thin metal, you know, support system, how they appear like? Exactly like that the diaphragm looks like. Right? Got it now? Now you understood this dome shape and how it will look like. Okay. Now what happens? See, by the contraction of these muscles, diaphragm becomes flattened in shape. So you can take the example of a parachute if you want. In this case, yeah. Okay, a parachute. So when the parachute balloon is filled with air, it's going to be dome shaped, right? And when the air is going to be, you know, like, you know, propelled out, it will become flat. So whenever there's going to be air, whenever there's going to be air present, okay, here, normally it's dome shape. Whenever there will be air present, air ka pressure will cause this dome shape to become flat. So by the contraction of these muscles, diaphragm becomes flattened in shape. So volume of thoracic cavity increases. Did you all understand what has happened? समझ में आ रही है बात क्या हो गया? So see, normally it is dome shape. Okay, now you can see my hand very clearly now. So it is going to be dome shape. Now what will happen? If I press this, I apply a pressure over here. What's going to happen? See, look. ये देखिए, ये सीधा हो गया. So now the thoracic cavity has increased its volume. Yes or no? Yes or no? Please understand, this is very important phenomena. Otherwise, इसमें ही सबसे ज़्यादा marks चले जाते हैं तुम लोग के. Huh? All of you, please follow this very nicely. Huh? So normal shape of the diaphragm is like this way. Whenever we breathe in, and when the air will, reach the diaphragm, it will get compressed to make it straight. So now the area of the thoracic cavity was only this much. Now it has become this much. You understood? Got it? What do we need diaphragm for? Your lungs cannot contract. They cannot relax. So how will the air be accommodated in that space? Only by making the diaphragm go down. Only then that thoracic cavity का volume increase हो जाएगा बेटा. तो अगर diaphragm काम नहीं करेगा तो breathing possible नहीं होता है. Okay. If it is not there, what will happen? There is no one to pull the muscles. There is no one to pull the, stretch the, there won't be any stretching, and entire, air will reach our stomach. It will not be used up for, exchange. It will enter our stomach. That is all the more dangerous. So diaphragm should be completely functional. Okay, so it's important, my dear, very important. Importance of diaphragm is like great. Okay, so now what will happen? See, so the volume of the thoracic cavity increases. Therefore, diaphragm helps in inspiration, taking in of air. Inspiration. So when you try doing this, yoga करते हो या गाना सीखते हो या गाना गाते हो, तो you would be knowing this. Whenever you have to take a deep breath, that is your inspiration. So taking in of, air is inspiration. So when we inspire, you can feel, a pressure being developed in the lungs as well as in the diaphragm wala region. Have you all ever done that? Try doing it. Take a long breath and see where you can feel the pressure. Come on. All of you all try it out. Where can you feel the pressure when you take a long breath? Yes, exactly. So that is what is the function of when you're taking a long breath ना, आप diaphragm को नीचे ऐसे बैठा रहे हो, squeeze कर रहे हो, हाँ? Yes, exactly. So when you squeeze that diaphragm, now the thoracic volume has increased. Got it? Right? Yeah. So इसके आगे बहुत important phenomena है, but someone had asked me to go to the previous slide for a minute, so I'm just going to the previous slide. Yeah. Just check it out. I don't know who had asked me, but someone had asked me. Done? Okay, fine. So अब तक जो भी diaphragm के बारे में बताया, anyone having any problem in understanding about the diaphragm? Come on, tell me quickly. Anyone, beta? Now we'll go ahead with understanding about the ICM, that is intercostal muscles. Space between the two ribs is called as intercostal space, in which two types of muscles are present. Now, what do you mean by this? I'll just show you. The space between the two ribs over here. Can you see this space? This is one rib, this is another rib, and there's a space over here in between. Correct? Right? So this space is going to be called as your intercostal space. So in each and every lung ke beech mein you can, each and every rib ke beech mein you can see this particular thing. Very clearly you can see here. Correct now? We're talking about this space. You'll at least come to know what are we talking about. So space between two ribs is called as intercostal space, and it's going to have two types of muscle: external intercostal muscle and internal intercostal muscle. So it is EICM and IICM. Okay, let us understand what are these. See, EICM, they originate from dorsal part of the rib. Dorsal means कहाँ से बेटा? पीछे से. हाँ? Insert on the ventral part of the lower rib. Okay. By the contraction of this muscles, the rib and the sternum shift upwards and outwards. So they help in inspiration. I know this is a bit to understand. I've given the diagram of this. These are the external intercostal muscles. So you can very well see how they are placed. See, these are the external ones which are coming from back and moving towards outside. External intercostal muscles. They appear like this. Okay. पीछे से आगे आते हैं, पीछे से आगे आते हैं. मैं अगर आपको इसको थोड़ा सा सिंपल वर्जन मेरे डायग्राम के हिसाब से दिखाऊं ना, तो इट विल बी वेरी इजी फॉर यू ऑल टू अंडरस्टैंड. जस्ट पे अटेंशन. Yeah. So suppose this is going to be one of the ribs. ये एक रिब है, ये दूसरा रिब है. Correct? These two I have drawn the consecutive ribs. Fine. Now, what are they saying is, it's going to come from back side. So इसके पीछे से निकला और इसके आगे आया. Understood how? So it's going to be originating from the back, coming forward. Originating from the back, coming forward. Forward matlab it's going to come over here. Okay. Now you understood? So it's going to come like this way. So पीछे से आगे की तरफ. So this is how the external intercostal muscles are going to be placed. Fine. So this is going to be one of the, see, look at it again. They originate from the dorsal part of upper rib. Dorsal means पीछे से. So ये upper rib है. So from the upper rib के पीछे के side से it has come. Okay. And they insert on the ventral part of lower rib. Ventral means आगे वाला. So it comes from behind, it comes आगे. Comes from behind, आगे इसके ऊपर आ जाता है. पीछे से start होके आगे आ जाता है. Now you understood how it is happening? I'll show you with my wire. Now suppose these are the two ribs. I think you can see my fingers very clearly. Huh? So ये upper है, ये lower है. Huh? So it will come from behind like this way and it will be placed like this way. Can you now understand? पीछे से आगे मतलब क्या? ऊपर वाले का back side. So what is that? Upper rib ka dorsal part. So if you look at the back, it is originating from the back. Okay, so it's originating from the back, and where is it moving? See, it's moving towards the front part. Got it now? So second finger is going to be my lower rib, and lower rib ka ventral part, so the front part. Got it now? Now it is simple. Yes. Intercostal muscle is like a flap of muscles developing from the back of the upper rib to the front of the lower rib. Yes, correct. Right. Now you all of you all could visualize the things how it is. With the wire wala thing, it becomes simple to understand, na? Yes. Okay. Anyway, so they originate from the dorsal part of the upper rib. Dorsal part of the upper rib and insert in the ventral part of the lower rib. Okay. By the contraction of these muscles. Now, what do you mean by contraction? They'll be contracting. So look at the way I'm making my fingers move. Okay, so how are they moving? See, by the contraction of these muscles, the sternum lifts. इसलिए मैंने ऊपर की तरफ लिया. So the sternum will be lifted up. And look at my folds now. Till now they were like this way. Now I have twisted my fingers. So it's moving up and it is projecting outwards. Now can you imagine these things? Okay, so the external intercostal muscles are going to be normally like this way. Huh? Each way. When they'll be plucked, when they'll be pulled, when they'll be stretched, what would happen? They would cause the sternum to move up and the entire rib to become, rib sternum to come forward, okay, which will help them to raise. Come on, all of y'all inspire and just see. When you inspire, how do you put your chest down? Don't you think it propels outside? Do it. Keep your hand on your chest and now try to inspire the air. What has happened? You're moving your chest outwards and your sternum is getting pulled upwards. So it's an upward and outward movement which is caused by EICM. Please remember this forever. EICM is responsible for which type of movement? Outward and upward. Yeah, it is. When you actually do this now, when I'm telling you to do it, and when you actually do this now, you would understand these things better. Rather than just, हाँ यार देख लेंगे, बाद में देख लेंगे. Sternum is the breastbone which I showed you just now, which is connecting both the ribs together. So it's going to be actually present between both the breasts. So it is called as breastbone. Okay. So the breastbone is going to be pulled upwards. Correct. देखो आप जब chest जो है वो जो chest region जो outward आ रहा है ना, that time you can see this particular position moving a bit upwards. So sternum is the breastbone. I had showed you in this particular diagram. ये वाला. This is going to be the sternum, the one which I'm making with blue now. Okay, we pull upwards. Got it now? Any difficulty till now? EICM? Yeah. So it helps in inspiration. So rib moves upward and sternum moves outward. No, but they originate from the rib is not going to be practically visible as such. Okay. By the contraction of these muscles, that is the EICM, rib and sternum will be, just shifting their location. So the rib and sternum both will be shifting upwards and outwards, both together. It will be upwards and outwards because sternum is going to be a part of your rib cage, right? So everything will be pulled up and outwards. Huh. No. They are different. They are different muscles. They are abdominal muscles. Okay. Yeah. So EICM का action किसी को नहीं समझा हो तो बोलो भाई. Tell me, anyone who has not understood EICM, external intercostal muscles, EICM, anyone having difficulty? Start breathing. Start breathing forcefully. You all are breathing, I know. But start breathing forcefully. You will come to know what is EICM. Okay? Well, the second is IICM. Now, what happens in IICM? They originate from the dorsal part of the lower rib and insert in the ventral part of the upper rib. मतलब ये उल्टा जा रहा है अभी. They are going ulta, right? So they're going to move. They're going to be originating from the front and moving towards the back. Don't you think it's a wave-like thing that is going to be caused? एक wavy appearance नहीं आएगा? See, something like this way, going back, coming आगे, going back, coming आगे, है ना? So it's going to be like a wave-like thing. So from here to here, this is IICM. And from here to here, we have got EICM. Understanding now? So if you look at this, wire is my online. So see, as I said, it originated from the back and it came forward. Now see, look at this. Can you see what has happened? Huh? So see, now it has originated. Now it has originated from the ventral side and it has gone to the back side of this finger. Correct? Can you see? So it's like a wave, na? ये देखो, ये एक wave के जैसे create नहीं हो रहा है? Yeah. So this is how the EIM and EICM and IICM are going to be arranged. Okay. Now, by the contraction of these muscles, ribs and sternum shift downwards and inwards. So exactly opposite action would be seen now. Correct? So it helps in forceful expiration. आपके साथ ये कभी हुआ है कि नहीं मुझे पता नहीं है, पर अगर बहुत ज्यादा आपने विग्रस एक्सरसाइज की हो या यू हैव रैन फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम, यू स्टार्ट gasping, है ना, and then you try to take in maximum air and at a particular point now you don't have the capacity to let out the air and that becomes very suffocating. पता नहीं मुझे आपने कभी एक्सपीरियंस किया है कि नहीं, मतलब when you take in air you feel good but at a particular point ना it becomes saturated, ये पूरा chest heavy हो जाता है and you are not in the capacity to give out that like air outside. It becomes very bad as a situation. So especially when you climb stairs at one go ना, जोर जोर से भाग भाग के अगर किए हो तो ये तो हालत हो ही जाती है. So in this case, it becomes very difficult. So what is equally required? Forceful expiration. So now you have inhaled the air just now. Come on, take a very long deep breath again and try to keep it like that way only. Don't breathe out. Oh my God, breathe out now. कुछ हो गया तो तुम्हारे मम्मी डैडी मेरे घर पे आ जाएंगे, हमारे बच्चों को क्या किया आपने. So when you breathe in, you can hold your breath for some time, but you need to give out that again back, है ना? I don't know if you are aware of this particular song called as Breathless by Shankar Mahadevan. Shankar Mahadevan की वो गाना सुना है आपने Breathless करके? हाँ. So he is having the capacity to hold the breath for such a long time. The one who can sing, the ones who are athletes, the ones who are going to be, very much into sports and all, they have increased their lung capacities. So they have increased their lung capacities, right? But others now, like you and me, normal people now, it becomes very difficult for us to hold our breath for such a long time, right? So expiration is also equally important as inspiration is important. So your IICM are helping in expiration. They are going to have exactly opposite action of the EICM. Samjha? Yeah. So by the contraction of the IICM, ribs and the sternum shift to the normal position, that is downwards and inwards respectively. Okay. So it helps in forceful expiration, which is a voluntary activity. If I don't want to expire my breath now, I can hold it. Try it out. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Uske baad suffocation. Then you give out with your mouth. Right? You let go that force of air with your mouth and not with your nose. Correct? But the main role of IICM is what? To help in expiring the air. And EICM is inspiring. You could do 2 minutes when you used to swim. Exactly. So swimming is something which is going to help you to keep your, breath for a longer time. Singing. People who sing now, who are singers now, even they can hold their breath for a very long time. Athletes, swimmers, of course. And there are some people who do extensive, वो अनुलोम विलोम, ये नाम अभी बहुत फेमस हो गया है ना? So The ones who are practicing yoga and the Anulom Vilom regularly, they also have the capacity to hold their breath for a very long time. But ultimately, we have to give it up. You can't hold it like that way forever. It has to be expired. So for expiring this air, IICM. So EICM and IICM, any difficulty in understanding, Beta? How much can I hold? Even I can hold for a very long time. Okay. Yeah, one can die because of holding of her breath. Yes, 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 of course. Okay. Around 1 minute, 10 seconds. Around 1 minute, 10 seconds is my capacity, not more than that. That was the threshold. Okay. Peak. For 33 minutes, is it? I was not aware. Oh my God. Oh my God. Great. 33 minutes is something like, I don't know, but maybe. It starts to a oxygen deficiency, beta. When there's going to be oxygen deficiency, whenever there's oxygen deficiency, what will happen to our organs? It's something that we want to go ahead with. Okay. Basically, it is because of less supply of oxygen to our tissues and cells. And there's going to be oxygen debt. Okay, oxygen debt ho jayega, DVT test, which will cause these symptoms. Okay. Yeah. Well, then see mechanism of respiration or breathing. Mechanism of breathing involves two phases, inspiration and expiration. Inspiration is a process by which fresh air enters the lungs. The intercostal muscles, diaphragm, abdominal muscles play an important role. During inspiration, diaphragm becomes flat, correct? And gets lowered by the concentration of its radial muscle fibers. So, छाता जो है उसको मैंने दबा के उसके जो fibers हैं उनको straight कर दिया. Correct? Something like that. But they are stretchable, so nothing wrong will happen to our diaphragm. This increases vertical diameter of thoracic cavity. So it was like this, right? Now what has happened? It became flat. So now the vertical diameter has increased. Correct? Due to contraction of the external intercostal muscles, ribs and sternum are pulled upward and outward. And it also results in the increase in the transverse diameter of the thoracic cavity. So one is going to increase the vertical cross section. The EICM are going to help in transverse increase in the capacity, right? Due to increase in both diameters of the thoracic cavity, due to increase in both diameters of the thoracic cavity, interpleural pressure falls. Matlab kya? X amount of air has entered inside. There was a tremendous pressure that time. But when these ribs moved out, sternum was pulled up, and diaphragm was squeezed down, now that X amount has got more area to, be a part of it. So when the area will increase, automatically the pressure will fall down. Correct? Right? So whenever you increase the area, the pressure will fall down. As simple as that. Right? Now, due to increase in air, so the pressure falls, causing decompression of lungs. So lungs expand due to elastic recoil, and air pressure within the lungs decrease. Elastic recoil. What do you mean by that word? Elastic recoil. You already know that lungs are elastic, though they don't have muscles. They don't have muscles, so they cannot move on their own. But when they are moved, when they are forced to move outside, they can definitely become movable because of their own elasticity. And they are going to expand due to elastic recoil. So there is recoiling of the elastic tissue, which is a part of your lungs. Okay. The greater the pressure outside the body now causes air to flow rapidly into the lungs. So when this cavity has increased, more amount of air is capable of entering inside because now space ज़्यादा मिल गई है. So more would be the space available, more would be the inspiring capacity. Got it? Understood this mechanism perfectly? So what has happened? What has happened in this? Diaphragm नीचे गया, ribs बाहर की तरफ आए, sternum ऊपर की तरफ आया. So सब जगह से cavity बड़ी हो गई. Thoracic cavity has increased, due to which the lungs can now relax. Okay, they were tightly, compactly उनको squeeze किया था. Now they can easily, come back to their normal position. That is called as elastic recoil. Okay, and because they're going to come to relax, more air will be filled inside them. Understood how the things are happening? Clear? Any difficulty in understanding the mechanism with respect to inspiration till here? Anyone not followed, please do let me know. Read it चाहिए तो एक बार read कर लो sentences को and tell me. कोई भी point नहीं समझाया तो please tell me. Yes, Medansh, you're right, beta. It's only because of this changes in the, thoracic capacities. The pressure would change, air in and out things will happen. Okay. Any difficulty or can I go ahead? How these muscles make the lung move upwards and downwards? By pulling them. When the muscle will get stretched, what would happen? When the muscles will get stretched, the ribs and the sternum would be coming closer. And when they are relaxed, they'll be moving. When they contract, they'll be moving up and down. So this contraction of the muscles is going to bring the ribs, sternum, everything, up and down. Okay. Huh? Got this? So if you have, what we can say is, you can take the example of what? Yeah. You can take the example of a horse or, a bull who are tied to that particular, वो कार्ट है, हॉर्स कार्ट या फिर वो जो bull cart है, for example. Okay, so whenever like you pull that particular cart inwards, what will happen? Automatically, when you are going to pull the horse cart, automatically the horse will also come back, na? It is going to be like moving, na? In the same way. We're going to pull the intercostal muscles now. These movements of the ribs and the sternum are going to get affected. The entire assembly will get affected. Okay, got it? So, yeah, not joined to the lungs exactly. They are connected with the lungs via these intercostal muscles. The muscles are the ones who are going to pull the ribs apart, and the lungs are going to be present in between, and they're going to have pressure of all of them, so they are squeezed. So when the muscles will cause the pulling of these ribs, what would happen? The muscles which are squeezed will come back to normalcy. Again they'll be squeezed, again they'll come back to normalcy. Okay, so it's as I always like to give the examples of the local train, if a person is sitting in the local train and there are already, 3 people sitting and there's a 4th seat which is available. So the 4th seat person is, actually if he has or she has occupied a 3rd seat के जितना जगह, तो वो 3rd and 4th, 2nd and 4th seat के बीच में जो 3rd seat वाला बैठता है ना बेटा, वो एकदम ऐसा compress होके बैठता है. पता नहीं आपने कभी experience किया है कि नहीं. But the 3rd seat वाला person ना will get completely squeezed. Pressure coming from the 2nd person and pressure coming from the 4th person. Understood? Understood what has happened? Now what will happen if the 2nd person gets up? Now what will happen? Pressure has decreased. फोर्थ सीट वाला भी निकल गया बाहर, उसको भी उतरना है, तो सेकंड सीट वाला भी उतर गया, फोर्थ सीट वाला भी उतर गया, थर्ड सीट वाला अभी कंफर्टेबली बैठ गया. हाँ, हुश, थैंक गॉड. Again, there will be two people who would come and they'll occupy those seats. Again, squeezed. Something like that. So lungs are getting squeezed. Between whom? Between whom? These four areas. The ribs, right? The sternum, the vertebral column, and the diaphragm. Okay, but definitely the diaphragm, the vertebral column has got nothing to do with the movements, but the diaphragm and the ribs and the sternum have got it. Okay, so as they move away, ribs relax. As they are squeezed, ribs, like the ribs, lungs would again, get squeezed like that. They should not, they won't break actually, but sometimes what happens now, they become porous. And when they become porous now, they become very fragile. And then there is a tendency of breaking of the ribs. Normally it won't. Normally it won't. But because of old age or because of continuous smoking or because of certain drugs, yes, they do become porous. The ribs do become porous, and then that is going to cause different types of problems with breathing actually. Okay, so that's all with your inspiration wala part. Clear? Huh? Now look at this. This is how they have given in. What's my pen? So this is how they have given with respect to the diagram. This is the, now you will understand this much better. Air pressure in your lungs causes them to expand to fill up the enlarged space in your thorax. So this is the front view. Okay. This is the पीछे का side है ये. This is the back side, which is vertebral column. आगे का side, this is going to be the sternum. From the sides, we have got the ribs. And from the base, we have got this dome-shaped diaphragm. Ribs swing up and increase the volume of thorax. Okay, so here you can see ribs and sternum are raised, so it's coming outward. Okay, diaphragm contracts and flattens. So diaphragm has become flat, which was dome shaped like this way now. So if I show you the normal position of the diaphragm, so it would be like it would be like this. Why is it not coming? It would be like this. It's going to be dome shape. Now this dome shaped structure has become flat. So don't you think इतना ज़्यादा capacity मिल गया इसको, तो ये यहाँ से था ऐसे. This was your normal squeezing that was occurring, and now it got this much extra space, right? So the diaphragm contracts and flattens while ribs and sternum are raised. This causes the volume of thorax to increase, and therefore lungs can now become normal, they can expand. Okay, got it? Yeah. This chapter will also include how smoking is going to affect the lung system. Of course, it's going to be including everything. All we are going to talk about the all type of disorders associated with breathing. What happens in expiration? See, it is a process by which the foul air, that's the carbon dioxide, foul means impure, okay, is expelled out from the lungs. It is a passive process. Passive means does not involve any energy. ATP involved nahi hai. During expiration, muscle fibers of the diaphragm relax. So, see, they have come back to their normal position. They have come back to their normal position. So, squeeze kiya gaya. Till now, how they were? They were like this. Right? In the earlier diagram which I have shown, they were over here. Now they have again gone back. They have become normal. So they have relaxed now. So diaphragm becomes convex towards the thoracic cavity. It results in decrease in the vertical diameter. Look at it. इतना diameter इसका कम हो गया बेटा. देखो इतना diameter उसका कम हो गया. It results in decrease in the vertical diameter of the thoracic cavity. Due to relaxation of external intercostal muscles, ribs and sternum return back to their original position, and this also results in decrease in transverse diameter of the thoracic cavity. So here you can see all are moving back. They all are coming back. So it's again getting squeezed, correct? Due to decrease in both diameter of the thoracic cage, intrapleural pressure increases. Lungs are now again compressed, they're again squeezed. So the pressure within the lung increases. The greater pressure within the lungs force the foul air from the lungs to outside. Therefore, it's a passive process. It's only the pressure of the air that will propel the foul air outside. Fine. It seems to be very simple, but look at the language. Language is very important. That when diaphragm contracts, what will happen? When diaphragm relaxes, what would happen? What would happen if the external intercostal muscles are moving out? What will happen when they come back to their normal position? Okay, so many questions are already framed on this part. So read this content very nicely from your books, my dears. And of course, my PPT will be shared with you all. Don't worry. I'll definitely share it. So any difficulty in understanding the expiration part of breathing mechanism? Anyone who has not followed this? All of you all are okay with this? Great. Yes, yes, it will contain everything. Yes, it will contain everything, of course. Well, then, what is forceful expiration? You have to be pit-pat with your NCERT. And extra content, everything is there in your module. But NCERT, you will have to refer, you will have to understand the language of NCERT. Okay? Forceful means जबरदस्ती से हम हवा हमारे नाक से जोर से बाहर expire करते हैं ना, that is forceful expiration. See, during forceful expiration, as during exercise, coughing, sneezing, abdominal muscles and internal intercostal muscles come into action, which rapidly reduces the volume of the thoracic cavity. So इसीलिए ना कभी-कभी हम लोग बहुत जोर से sneeze करते हैं ना, तो it pains over here in the abdominal region, right? All of a sudden, if you sneeze now, all of a sudden it pains over here in the abdominal region. Yeah, it pains a lot, I know. Yes, it is because of what? A quick, a quick closure or a quick, jerk that is going to give to the lungs. So it actually pains, right? So it's the abdominal muscles and the internal intercostal muscles that will come into action. Okay, so abdominal muscles and internal intercostal muscles are called as expiratory muscles. They are going to help in expiration. When we steam, don't we indirectly send water? They'll get filtered. That water will get filtered out. Okay, so it's going to get condensed, so it won't reach over there actually, right? And even if it reaches now, it's going to get cleaned away automatically. Okay. Yeah. So here you can see this is the innermost intercostal muscles. Where's my So this is the innermost intercostal muscles, and these are your external intercostal muscles. And this is the internal intercostal muscle. Innermost is intercostal. You will learn in your first year MBBS. What is the role of it? As of now, they are not playing much role. So they are not going to be, done in detail. But internal and external, look at it. आगे से पीछे से आगे आ रहा है देखो, और ये जो है ये आगे से पीछे जा रहा है. Right? So this is the cross section of this particular area of the ribs. We take the steam to kill the bacteria or the virus if they are present in the nasal chambers, the nares, and even the larynx and the pharynx. It's nothing to do with the lungs. It's only the external part. Okay. After which it will enter into the pharynx and esophagus, and it's going to get eradicated. It's nothing to reach out to the lungs तक steam पहुंचती नहीं है. Okay. Then regulation of breathing. It's a very beautiful process. That if you think over it ना कि ये कैसे सब कुछ हो रहा है, how is this exactly taking place? What is getting the breathing action to come perfectly in? So this is the regulation of breathing. See, breathing is an involuntary process and is controlled by medulla oblongata, but it can be made voluntary for a short while. So right now we all are breathing, but we're not realizing that we are breathing unless and until we focus on it or we think about it. Then, yes, we are breathing, right? Stuff is accumulated in the chest. It is going to be the mucus that is going to be synthesized by the alveoli of the goblet cells that we had seen yesterday. So those are going to give out a lot of mucus, and that mucus is going to be given because it is, required for trapping the bacteria from not moving in the body. But we call that mucus as cough, right? Well, so during this period, it is controlled by cerebrum. Now, this is again a very important fact not given in your textbooks. What is it? That is, involuntary process is controlled by medulla oblongata, and voluntary control or voluntary control is going to be done by the cerebrum. Okay. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Okay. So during this period means voluntary period, it is controlled by cerebrum. Those involuntary processes which can be made voluntary are called as reflex actions. So involuntary को voluntary में convert करना जो होता है, it is called as reflex actions, right? Breathing is regulated by two controls, nervous control and chemical control. So basically there are two controls which operate in the act of breathing. So let us understand both. First, we go ahead with the nervous control. The respiratory rhythm is controlled by nervous system. Rhythm means a proper beating is going to be respiratory system, proper, timely in and out, right? The rate of respiration can be enhanced as per demand of the body during strenuous physical exercise. Obviously, so when we do a lot of exercise, what's going to happen? We are going to have a difficulty in breathing. So that time will demand more oxygen, right? When people die of drowning, it is said that the person's lung was filled with certain percentage of water which caused the death. Yes. Does the person die of suffocation or due to presence of excess water in the lungs? Both. Okay. It's a dual action. Then a number of neurons are located bilaterally in the medulla. Bilaterally means dono side pe, a pair. Okay. In the medulla oblongata, which control the respiration, these are called as respiratory centers. Fine. 3 groups of respiratory centers have been identified. Dorsal respiratory group, which is called as DRG. Ventral respiratory group, which is called as VRG. And pneumotaxic centers. So there are 3 different types of, centers which are involved over here. You can see this. This is the medulla. This is the pons of our brain, which has been enlarged over here. Okay. So this is going to be the pons. Ye wala area. Correct? This part. Which is going to have what? See? Pneumotaxic center, apneustic center. DRG is present in your medulla, and even VRG is present in your medulla. So VRG and DRG are in the medulla, and pneumotaxic center and apneustic center is going to be a part of your pontine respiratory group. We call it as PRG. Okay. Now they are directly. Now look, you can see the arrows very clearly. Okay. This is a minus arrow. Pneumotaxic center ka minus arrow hai, and apneustic center ka positive arrow hai. Minus arrow means it will stop inspiration. It will stop inspiration, while positive ones are the ones which will help in inspiration. Okay. So these are going to be, you know, like directly affecting whom? The intercostal muscles as well as these external and internal intercostal muscles. Who? All these centers. Which are the centers? DRG, VRG, and pneumotaxic center. They all will control the mechanism of breathing. How would they do that? See, the DRG is present in the dorsal portion of the medulla oblongata. The signals from these neurons generate the basic respiratory rhythm. So DRG is going to set the respiratory rhythm. Nervous signal released from this group is transmitted to the diaphragm. So see how it is going to set the respiratory rhythm. So it's going to directly get connected with the diaphragm, which is the primary inspiratory muscles of EICM. Correct? The VRG group of the neurons are located anterolaterally to the DRG. Anterolaterally, आगे से side के तरफ. Okay? During normal respiration, this remains inactive. Very important point, beta. VRG remains inactive during normal respiration and even does not play any role at all. So DRG is the only one who is going to take control of this particular activity. In the enhanced respiratory drive, means extra strenuous work, heavy exercise, climbing the stairs, you know. So in the enhanced respiratory drive, the respiratory signal of this group contributes to fulfill the demand by regulating both inspiration and expiration. So both are going to be now finally controlled. Few of the neurons of this group control inspiration, while few of the other control expiration, thus regulating both. Okay, so everything will be finally regulated by your DRG. VRG is going to remain functionally inactive. Got this? Understood this? So DRG कहाँ है, VRG कहाँ है, and pneumotaxic center कहाँ है? All of them, all three positions understood, and their first DRG का role understood. Well, then what happens, Sibita? The pneumotaxic center is located dorsally in the upper pons, right? This transmits signals to the inspiratory area. Primarily, it controls the switch off point of inspiration. Therefore, I told you there was a negative sign. It will stop inspiration. Switch off point वहां पर है. Okay, कहाँ पर? Pneumotaxic center. When the signal is strong, the inspiration lasts for a shorter duration and lungs are filled partially. During weak pneumotaxic signals, inspiration lasts for a longer duration, resulting in complete filling up of the lungs. So we generally, you know, our pneumotaxic center is very active. हम लोग आधी सांस लेकर छोड़ देते हैं, है ना? We don't actually fill in our lungs perfectly. When you do that pranayam, yogasan, anulom vilom, that is the time when your, you know, pneumotaxic center is allowed to rest. कि भाई रुक जा. Otherwise तो normal case में, normal breathing में तो वो अपना चालू ही रहता है pneumotaxic. The strong signal causes increased rate of breathing because duration of inspiration as well as expiration has shortened. जितना हम कम सांस लेते हैं उतना जल्दी हम बाहर भी छोड़ते हैं बेटा. I'll tell you that also, you know, content is there. We have got something called as capacities and we have got something called as volume. So there is a glass which is having a capacity of 300 ml. Okay, but we have filled it to only 200 ml. So the bottle volume is 200 ml, but the capacity is 300 ml. Right? Something like that way is there in our lungs also. So we have got different lung capacities and different lung volumes, which will be doing it eventually. Now, the concentration of CO2 and H plus causes increased strength of inspiration as well as expiratory signal. So we already know what happens. What happens? The concentration of carbon dioxide and H plus, which is going to be built up in our system now, okay, is going to increase the strength of inspiration as well as expiration. However, oxygen has no such direct effect. So let oxygen be there in maximum amount or least amount. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. It is not the oxygen that causes us to, take in more air inside. It is the concentration of CO2 and H plus which is going to cause the inspiration to occur continuously. Okay, so no role of oxygen. See, we came to know about it just now. Then we talk about the last particular part of today's lecture, that is Hering-Brewer's reflex action. Hering-Brewer's inflation reflex, named for Joseph Breuer and Ewald Hering, is a reflex triggered to prevent the overinflation of the lungs. Overinflation means इतना भी inspiration नहीं होना चाहिए कि वो lung अपना blast हो जाए, right? So it's going to prevent that. In the walls of the terminal bronchioles and atria, stretch receptors are present which are normally inactive. We have already seen in the diagram, that black and white diagram, what is the position of the terminal bronchioles and what is of the atrial stretch atrium. But they become active when the lungs are exclusively inflated due to failure of switch off of inspiration. So when we are not in the capacity to breathe out now, that time these receptors become active. The Hering-Brewer's reflex arc now becomes activated and sends inhibitory signals to the inspiratory center to switch off inspiration. बहुत inspiration हो गया, इसको बंद कर दो. This will be done by whom? This will be done by the stretch receptors which are present. Which area? Terminal bronchioles and the atria. Atria, not the heart, please. This prevents the alveoli from overstretching and bursting. This Hering-Brewer's reflex arc is a protective reflex which works only when normal mechanism of switch off of inspiration does not work timely due to any reason. So anytime there is going to be problem with the pneumotaxic center, Hering-Brewer reflex arc will come into action. Got it? That is about the reflex arc. Any difficulty in understanding the reflex arc? Anyone who did not follow reflex arc wala content? Very important, very, very important, and not given in your NCERT textbook. Of course, given in your government textbook, but not in your NCERT. But questions have been asked on Hering-Brewer's. Okay. That's all with your nervous control. In the next class, we'll go ahead with the chemical control. So I'll stop for today. And in the next class, we'll continue this chapter with respect to chemical control. Okay. Kindly revise the content. These things, there's light coming in. Let's close that. So in the next class, we'll go ahead with the chemical control onwards. Okay. You will be informed. You will be informed. You will be informed. Right? Got it? Yeah, bye. See you all.